timer going. I hope I don't bring the thunder again. Okay. Okie dokie. This time, though, y'all tell me, because it was happening behind me, and I didn't know what was going on. So somebody give me a heads up. I'm just saying. Okay. Good evening. My name is Theresa. I'm an alcoholic. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober because of a loving God. I want to thank the committee so much for asking me to come on back. Even though when Woody said back out here, I was like, wait a minute. Maybe we should be inside. It's like doing the same thing over again, expecting different results. Thank you so much, the committee. You'll hear me in a minute. I'm from New York. Hold on, relax, trust me. I'm just nervous right now. Give me a minute. I want to thank the committee. I want to thank my hosts, Adam and Julie, and all the volunteers and the staff, everybody. It takes a lot to put this together. Thank you so much for inviting us to your home. That was some good barbecue. That was good. I also want to thank Al-Anon and Alateen. That's important. Most of us drunks are here because of them. Okay. Happy anniversary to Alcoholics Anonymous. My goodness. 88 years, that's crazy, yo. What an awesome celebration. I call them my family, so I want to thank Uncle Bob and Uncle Bill and Auntie Ann and Lois for the life that I have today. I always have a share before I share. It just helps me out a little bit because I'm trying to talk like I'm cool, but I'm not right now. And I needed to go to the bathroom like 20 minutes ago, so I'm going to figure out how we're going to do this. That's what I kept telling them. I have to go to the bathroom. Okay. But I'm always nervous. This is awkward, uncomfortable, intimidating, exposed. Somebody like, I usually share with the newcomer, I'm about to get butt naked. That usually wakes them up. I'm like, somebody get naked? Wow, the party's going on. But regardless of being uncomfortable and this being awkward, I'm here because my life depends on it. And somebody did it for me. And so I'm here. I want to welcome anybody who's new. Welcome home. We've been praying for you. I was told just keep coming back. Don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens. And let us love you so you can learn to love yourself. And it's going to be all right. You don't have to take a drink again if you want to. More importantly, even if you don't want to. The old timers also told me, I don't know what you're going to do. But this is what we have done. I get an opportunity to share with you in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. And if you're new, there's a reason for that. In our literature, in the doctor's opinion, he talks about a message of depth and weight. It is the language of the heart. It is the music that I have found in these rooms. And nobody else has been able to capture my attention the way you've captured mine. And I hope you hear the music. For you see, it goes past your disease, centered in your thinking. It goes straight into your heart. And once the seed's been planted, you can't drink the same again. I want to thank all the old timers in the house. Thank you for my life and my sobriety. We still want what you have. We say the newcomer is the most important person in the room, and truly you are. But I don't know how it would be if it wasn't for the old timers. And I'm glad we don't get well around here, and that you keep coming back. You're part of the no matter what club. And you show me that I too can recover one day at a time under all conditions and circumstances. Thank you, we need you. My sobriety date is March 29, 1990. Whew. But for the grace of God, sponsorship, takes a village, right? 12 steps, 12 traditions, home group. I've had the honor and the privilege of being with you all for the last 33 years. This is my first time in the program. For those who are new, there are some of us who come and stay. It is possible. I have yet to go out. I won't say I have yet to find it necessary, because I have found it necessary. The miracles that I haven't. But it's a yet for me, so I'm not exempt from the possibility. That's why I keep coming back. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. The other thing too, let me get a couple things out. Okay. I'm like suffocating in this dress. Okay. I just gotta say that out loud. I haven't been out since COVID, so I'm a little culture shocked too. So let me just get that out of the way. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people, other than the supermarket and the hospital or doctor's office. So since I came here, I've been like, I'm gonna die. I've been in a bubble, you know what I'm saying? So I've been free. That's a lot of y'all. I'm like, oh my God. Whew. And then I'm walking around with a mask, and then y'all looking at me like, she didn't get the memo? Nobody told her? We don't, anyway. Oh, God. Oh. Okay, I've always been, all right, God, I'm stalling here anytime now. Oh, okay. As the story goes, I hope you look at the similarities and not the differences, and you get to ask yourself some questions like, that happened to me. I felt that way too. And most importantly, perhaps this program can work for me. Every part of me wants to go, as I was saying 5 years ago, but I'll start from the beginning. I continue to pray on this. It's, you know, my mother passed away recently, and she's a huge part of my story. And Mommy used to take pride when I shared about her. You know, you would think she would be embarrassed. She'd be like, nope, that's right, that's me, I jacked her up. Uh-huh, that's right. She would stand online with me like, yep, thank you, thank you. So it's just a little awkward sharing, but here it goes. I'm born addicted to an alcoholic mother who didn't want me, wanted nothing to do with me. My father was an orphan, and he wanted a lot of kids, and my mother just got with him to make her boyfriend upset. She got pregnant with my brother, and it's called the shotgun wedding, so she had to marry him. She didn't love him, want him. But she fell in love with having my brother. And that's all she wanted was him, but my father wanted more children. And so my mother would say that I was a product of rape. My father had a different perspective on that situation. It wasn't until years later I was sharing, and he came to hear me speak, and I said that afterwards. He was like, I didn't rape your mother. I was like, that's what she told me. But I was born addicted. I was born a preemie, and my mother left me in the hospital, and she told my father, you wanted it, you can keep it away from me. I don't want to see it. I don't want to touch it, and I don't want to hear it. And she left. It was my grandmother and my father that brought me home. And I can only go by what they tell me. They said that whenever I started crying, they tried to give me milk, formula, or juice, but my body would reject it. So usually if you're born addicted, they try to wean you off. And so that's what they planned on doing. But they came up with this idea, and that was to leave me alone in the house with Mommy so she can at least look at me and touch me. And she said I began to cry. And she kept saying, shut that thing up. Why am I hearing that thing? And she went in the living room and discovered she was alone with me. And so her knee-jerk reaction was like, great, I can finally kill her once and for all. And she took a pillow and she began smothering me. But then she recalled hearing them say, if you give her alcohol, she'll stop crying. And from that moment on, my mother set a precedent in that home that a bottle of alcohol was to remain in my mouth And the only time it was to be removed was to be refilled. Her hope was that I would die from alcohol poisoning. And if I didn't die, you wouldn't see me, hear me, and I would still be non-existent. Certainly, Mommy didn't know, and I certainly didn't know that what I was suffering from was alcoholism, because I was supposed to die. Instead, I'm here sharing this story. I never knew that my experience can benefit others. It's amazing that I'm here. I was supposed to die. She didn't know I had alcoholism. It wasn't only until I arrived here with you that I discovered what that was. You don't give an infant alcohol and they survive. And the reason I survive, what I've learned from you, is that I have an illness. It's an allergic reaction. It's an abnormal reaction. Instead of my body rejecting it and refusing it, it received it and demanded for more of it. Alcohol was the only thing I knew. That was my nutrition, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was the blood that ran through my veins, and it was my oxygen. I drank my entire life until I came into these rooms 33 years ago at the age of 24. Not one day, I didn't do a New Year's resolution, tomorrow's gonna be different, never. I drank in my house. Everybody knew to keep the cup full, the sippy cup full. I was loaded on my first year birthday, second year birthday, third year birthday. I got pictures. My grandmother would fight, my father would fight to get the bottle out of my mouth, and alcohol won. My dad left when I was 2, and then my grandmother left. They couldn't stop. They couldn't stop it. And my brother never understood the relationship between my mother, myself, and alcohol. I also grew up with, I'm gonna use adjectives because I gotta give you some bullet points, no? A Reader's Digest. And the best way I can describe my 24 years is, and the relationship that I had with alcohol was that, and I got these adjectives when I came here. I didn't have them before I arrived. And that is that you say I come from a dysfunctional family. I don't know, man, that's my family to this day. I grew up half the year in New York and half the year in Puerto Rico. We love salsa and rice and beans, and we own the Bacardi factory, and we're good. I got family members that are pedophiles, hustlers, gangsters, we're mafia. And they're also police officers, politicians, and priests. They're all the same as far as I'm concerned. But you call that dysfunctional. To this day, when I go to Puerto Rico and I visit my family, you know, my cousins pick me up, I buy them a 6-pack, I let them smoke a joint, and we get on the road. They can't drive no other way, man. I'm not gonna ask them not to drink and drive, we're gonna have an accident. I'm like, yo, get loaded, let's go. But that's my familia, that's my family. Where most of you can't wait to get your family back, I've had to stay away from the majority of mine. I also grew up with what you call verbal abuse, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. And that was a normal form of communication. I don't know why people felt that they could let out all their aggression and their anger on me, and if Mommy told them they could, I don't know. If I was sold, I have no idea. I just know that that's what they did to me. As horrible as that sounds, I was not present for my experience. Thank God for alcohol. I don't know if alcohol talked to you, but it talked to me. And it told me, if nobody loves you, I love you. I got you. You don't got to worry about none of this. It gave me no heartbeat. It was like those monkeys, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I was a human doing rather than a human being. I went to Catholic school. I can go to Catholic school, say the Our Father, the Hail Mary. What? Work in Wall Street, hang out in Harlem. The very character defects you've asked me to remove around here, I was breeding on them. You can't survive the world I come from without them. I can't go around my family today and talk about love and tolerance is out cold. They be like, you tripping. Like, you've been in Cali too long. I still crack up on that one. Love intolerance. I have to say this, I tripped out with inventory because everybody's worried about inventory. Oh my God, I was like, that's a hit list. You ain't never done a hit list? That's easy. I have one right here. Anyway. I tell you, still sometimes my cousins call me, like, anybody messing with you? I'm like, yeah, man, but I can't talk to you yet. I got to talk to my sponsor. I got to tell my sponsor first. Oh, my goodness. I was emancipated by the age of 14. Mommy and I fought a lot. A judge emancipated me. He said I was a genius. I had a genius IQ. I was too mature for my age. All my friends were 15, 20 years my senior. At that time, my man was 26. He beat me on a daily basis, and you couldn't have told me that I was in love. That was my man, and you mind your business. The thing I asked him to do is don't hit me in the face. I can't cover up my face. And alcohol told me it would take care of me. I was an adult at the age of 14. Alcohol was my puppet master. It told me when to get up in the morning and when to go to bed at night. Where I was going to live, where I wasn't going to live. If I was in a relationship, if I was not, and who I was in a relationship with. It dictated every single area of my life, and it was non-negotiable. Around here, we talk about burning bridges. I didn't burn no bridges. I never established any. I don't need nothing and nobody. It's me and alcohol against the world. It was my nurse, my doctor, my therapist, my friend, everything, my oxygen. I would have broken bones. And I did like that movie, Death Becomes Her. Be sticking out, they'd be like, yo. I'm like, yo, put it back in. What's the matter? What? What is happening? Why are you scared? I lived like that for 24 years. I didn't do a New Year's resolution. I didn't say tomorrow should be different. Perhaps this life shouldn't be this way. This is the way it was. And at the same time, this is interesting. I just did a paper on this in my class. I named it Living in Two Realms. I was also a spiritualist, and they put me when I was 5 years old in front of a glass of water and a candle, and they told me to read somebody. And my father started teaching me everything about the spirit world. And I believe that he knew that he couldn't keep me in the physical world from alcohol, but he wanted to introduce me to another world. And that's where I found peace. My happiest place was sitting across a glass of water and a candle. And I went into this other realm and this other dimension, and there it was peaceful, it was loving, it was unconditional love, there was harmony. And then I would come to the physical world, and alcohol allowed me to get through it and survive it. I was like lions and tigers and bears, oh my. I was planning on living like that for the rest of my life, and I couldn't wait for death to take me out. I hear a lot of stories in these rooms, and I want to thank all the speakers, man. I've been like a kid in a candy store. I'll tell you, that's one thing I love, just sitting up and listening. Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. You guys got me all excited. I wasn't planning on changing anything about that life. I didn't even know I needed to or had to. But here's where I believe most of us end up meeting in this place. For whatever reason, at the age of 24, alcohol abandoned me and left me emotionally retarded with no coping skills. That's a game changer. I don't mind doing incomprehensible, demoralizing things when I don't notice. But all of a sudden, I became present for my experience. I started hearing the name calling. I felt the bruises in my body and the violation. I remember I walked into a bar. They said, look what the trash brought in. I can't tell you how long they said that, but I remember when I heard it. And I tried to laugh it off, but I couldn't shake it off. And normally when I go to the bar, I call it VIP, you call it barfly. It's all about perspective. I go into a bar, my drink is waiting, I take a drink, I look at you, and you're not ugly anymore. But now this time, I take a drink, I look at you, and you still ugly? There's a problem. That's a problem. I take another drink, and you still ugly, and not only you ugly, I still go home with you? That's a problem. I'm sorry, that's a problem. You're supposed to transform by now. I don't know what's happening to me. I saw the look of disgust on my grandmother's face and I couldn't shake it off. And Daddy stopped talking to me. When did Daddy stop talking to me? And more importantly, why did I care? I tried to find every combination so I can get flatlined again. But no matter what I did, I was still present for my experience. And then I invited death in my life. And I believe it's a cold thing when you invite death in your life and death don't even take you out. I end up doing what I call the aimless walk, the walk with no purpose, no agenda, no destination. It's just a walk. And I ended up in a church, that's all. And I stepped inside this church and I felt a presence. And the presence was distinctly separate from me. I knew it was there, but it wasn't tangible. It was there. I remember it was there, but I couldn't touch it. And I said a prayer that's different than any other prayer. I know that it came from the depths of my soul. I didn't know what I was praying to. I wasn't sure what I was asking for. Here is where I believe the gift of desperation and the window of the grace of God becomes visible, and they both collide with one another. I could have missed it. And I said, God, please allow me to feel the peace that I feel in this church inside of me. I just wanted one moment for my head to shut up, my skin to stop crawling, and for my stomach to stop turning, man. I always say, yo, I lost my hustle, yo. I had no idea that prayer was going to change my life. I left there, I went to my father's house, and Daddy wasn't talking to me. And he would open up the door, he would leave white clothes for me and an African soap, and I would have to clean myself. It's called doo-doo. I would clean myself in these herbs, and I could spend the night. This time, Daddy opened up the door, and he was just staring at me. And what came out of my mouth was amazing. I said, Daddy, help me. Was God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself? I ain't never asked for help before. I ain't no punk. You see, there's a world that I come from. I don't ask for help. I'll starve before I ask you for help. Because the world I come from, I'll help you all day long. What you need, what you want, I got you. Because you're going to owe me for the rest of your life. And when I come back to collect, you better be ready to pay up. Never ask for help. Where'd that come from? Daddy, help me. And my father said, with all the love that a father can have for his daughter, I wish I could tie you up and put you in a closet, but I can't. He said, but you're standing in the middle of a crossroad and there's 3 directions you're headed. You're so close to them, you could taste them and you can smell them. And that's jails, mental institutions, and death. But there's another road, it's called recovery. You don't know anything about it, and neither do I. But if you give it a try, and if it doesn't work out, the other 3 will be waiting for you. That fact remains true to me to this day. My dad put me on a Greyhound bus and I went to sunny California where I thought everybody was sober. I thought that was the sober state. I went there because you have a tradition around here. It's called attraction rather than promotion. And my mother was sober. Mommy had 4 years. And my cousin was her Eskimo. My cousin had 4 years. And whenever I used to go to California, I used to see you in these meetings. And I would drink before, during, and after. Maybe you messed up my drinking. I didn't even know I was paying attention to you people. But when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, I remembered the faces of the people of Alcoholics Anonymous. The smile, the warmth, and the camaraderie that you have with one another. I remember that you didn't shun me, suck your teeth at me, roll your eyes at me, or try to shove a pamphlet down my throat. I'm grateful you didn't do that. I would have figured out how to die out there before I proved you right. I detoxed on the Greyhound bus. I was sick, man. I hadn't been without a drink in my body since fetus. I was sick. There was a man on this bus. He said, "You must come with me." And he carried me from the bus depot. We were in El Paso, Texas. And he carried me like a wounded soldier to this bar right around the corner. And he ordered a drink, and I couldn't hold it. I was shaking so bad. And he put it to my mouth, and I remember I sucked it up like a dog that had been out of water. I believe he saved my life. More people die from alcohol detox than anything else. I don't know if I would have made it. And I got back on that bus. I felt bad for I should make amends to the people on that bus. Could you imagine somebody detoxing on a Greyhound bus? I was like, oh my God, I was dying in there. When I got back on the bus, homeboy was telling me to mention, when I got back on the bus, I was like, woo, I don't know what that was all about. How you doing, everybody? I was like, oh my God, that was deep. You all right? That was funny. I was like, oh, I was having a moment. That was intense. Oh my goodness. I arrived in downtown Los Angeles Union Station on March 29, 1990, wearing a size 1 pair of pants, 2 pants underneath, a huge sweatshirt, 4 months pregnant, didn't have a heartbeat by the time I got there. That was my 4th child I had lost. And my mother picked me up, and she dropped me off in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. We walked halfway in the room, and she turned around to walk out. That still gets me. Wait a second. Mommy turned around to leave, and I was like, where you going? And she said, this is as far as I can go with you. And she turned me over to the very people that saved her life. I feel like I was a baby in a baby basket left at the doorsteps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was 3,000 miles from New York City. That's a culture shock in itself, from New York to California. California, I'm still tripping. I am. Still to this day, I go to the store like, where you from? You from New York? I'm like, why? Am I confrontational? I'm trying not to be, seriously. I'm trying to ask you a question. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm trying to say. I got sober in South Central Los Angeles. I am so proud of the breed that I come from. Mommy dropped me off at Crenshaw Lano. I got sober Crenshaw Lano, their clubs, and 9604 where they have meetings all day long. And I would sleep in the couches. They had couches in the back or the chairs, and get up in between meetings, and then people would take me to their houses. But when I first walked in that room, I always love to share this because I think it's the anchor, the cement, that just helped me so much. I see it like it was yesterday. I walked into the room, and there was a woman named Marcy. And Marcy was another little Puerto Rican like myself, petite and tiny. And she walked straight from way across the room, and she walked up to me with purpose, man. Her chest, she was like, And she walked straight up to me, and she said, hey, baby girl, we've been praying for you. God don't make no junk, baby girl. You deserve to be here. You a child of God. And she took my face in her hands and moved me close to her. And she looked in my eyes. It was trippy. She looked right in my eyes. And she looked at me and she said, you got a beautiful light inside of you, baby. And we just got a clean house for that light to shine. I still hear Marcy. I believed her. So odd that I believed her. Do you know that I had never heard anything like that? That might not be a big deal to you, but it was to me. She said I had a beautiful light inside of me, and that God don't make no junk. Everybody told me you're garbage, you're stupid, you're nothing, you're nobody, you're insignificant, get out of my face, get away from me, we can't stand you. And this woman walks up to me and says, you a child of God, and God don't make no junk. What? What did Marcy see in me? What did she see? I didn't know what she saw, but I wanted to find out. I believed her, and I wanted to know what she saw. And she sat me down in the front, and she said, you will sit down, shut up, and listen. You take the cotton out of your ears and you put it in your mouth, because your best thinking got you here. Now, you would think a person that comes from abuse, I would have issues. No, I sat down. I listened to her. And she told me to listen like the dying only could. And to examine my relationship with alcohol, mine. That the very first step, I needed to concede to my innermost self that I was truly alcoholic. And the only way I can do that was to listen to you. It even says it in the big book, in the foreword. We want you to pause, read a couple of stories in the back of the book before you even move forward. And I started listening to you people, and I was like, what are you saying to me right now? What are you guys talking about? You telling me that's not normal? I got sober with Skid Row drunks, man. God knew where to put me. The hustlers and the hustlers and the liars and the liars and the cheaters, man. I got sober with people, they were grateful they had teeth and clean underwear. It was a good day. And I looked at these people and they were characters. We were talking about this the other day at the meeting. It's all about perception and how we want to internalize it. But I tell you, I came in with my arrogance, self-will run riot, thinking my stuff was still cool and I don't stink, I still got it going on. And you would think I would look at these people in this room and go, I can't hang out with you guys. First of all, there weren't any Puerto Ricans there. I don't know about you, but I only hang out with Puerto Ricans. If you don't eat salsa and eat rice and beans, I don't know what to talk to you about. I learned the traditions long before the steps. I was scared, I was confused, I was lost, I didn't have an identity, and I didn't have a name. I was a blank canvas. They gave me the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and they told me that the program was outlined in that book, that it's a simple program for complicated people. I heard everything you guys said to me. I couldn't believe the things you were saying. And I remember looking at these people. Kim is my partner. We've been together 33 years. She met me when I was new. They sat me down next to her. We were newcomers. And I remember looking at all these people in the room, and they had so many years of sobriety. And she always says that. She's like, don't say this. It's not politically correct, but I'm going to say what I was thinking at the time, okay? So I looked at all these people, and I was like, these people are retarded. I was like, that retarded man got 33 years? Where's the big book? I'm like, this is a piece of cake. That retarded man got how many years? Oh, no. I'm going to do this program. What? Ain't no one will be out there drinking and that retarded man is still here with how many years? No, where's the big book? And the reason why I thought you were retarded was because you guys would get up here and you would read like it's the first time you've been here 33 years and you're still going, our common welfare should... What's wrong with that man? I was like, they're retarded. They gave me a sponsor. I didn't pick them, interview them, hire them. I don't know nothing about that. They told me this woman is your sponsor. And I remember getting sassy and saying, I thought you were supposed to find somebody you identify with. They were like, you now identify with her. That was the end of that. It's like, whatever. And all I needed to know about a sponsor was that they had a working knowledge of the steps in the book. You see, remember I said I learned the traditions before the steps, principles before personality. Your personality is none of my business. My personality is what I had to set to the side. It didn't matter if you had a job, you had money, you had a car, what was your career, you were black, you were white, your political views, what football team you into, none of my business. And I kept all my conversations to that. Every time you and I start talking about movies and books, I don't like you. What step are you on? I don't like you. Let's not talk about that. To this day, many people see me in my home group. I be walking up in there and I be like, how you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. I'm a member because I say I am. I love the traditions. I'm a member. People still make fun of my home group. I used to go to, look, I'm a member. I don't like you either. But you have to help me. I'm a member. I have a desire. They still make fun of me today. They're like, Theresa, I'm a member. I'm like, that's why I don't remember. Another thing, I hope this is not offensive, but it's true. I'm just telling you about how I did stuff. Hold on, look at the time. I went to a meeting. They still make fun of me at this meeting. It's Unit A. And I went there for the first time, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I raised my hand. And I said, I don't care if you KKK. I'm a member. And I saw AA sign outside. So all of you are helping the Negro today. They still make fun of me. They make fun of me. They're like, Theresa, we're not KKK. I was like, I'm just saying, you look like it. I'm just saying. But I'm not leaving. So they still make fun of me when I go there. Theresa, I'm a member. They weren't, but I was tripping. But you guys love me no matter what. I think it's the coolest thing. I think it's funny. If you don't, that's funny. My sponsor began to take me through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I learned that these are tools designed for living. They're not homework. They're not assignments to give to my sponsor. I put down the drink and picked up the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I got no in between and there is no gray area. I don't know how to live any other way. All I ever known was to drink. And I can't die right, and I can't continue to live that way. I got to learn how to live another way. And I'm so grateful nobody ever apologized for my relationship with God when I got here. I love the congruency that in every meeting they kept saying, the program is outlined in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You too can recover one day at a time. Keep coming back one day at a time. Let go and let God. Live and let live. And I used to say, you guys are brainwashing me. They were like, your brain needs washing. There's so many people still in my head, right? Ralph used to say, I get a blessing to be a blessing. Sobriety is a gift given to me by God, and what I do is my gift to God. Man. And I began to learn how to apply these steps to my life, and you told me that I must find a power greater than myself. Not maybe, not sort of, not kind of. If you think it's a good idea, I must. You see, they say we make suggestions around here, but let me tell you the type of suggestions I heard. The building's on fire, I suggest you leave. That ain't no suggestion. Where was I to find this power? You gave me a hint. You said deep down inside in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. It lived inside of me. That might not be a big deal to you, but it was to me. It was in me. I no longer need to reach outside of myself, reaching for stuff that was insufficient, that it was in me. How do I get there? Through the steps. It ain't that deep. They've gotten really nice lately. They used to tell me, keep it simple, stupid. I get nervous today when people talk to me on working with others. They're like, no, you don't understand. It's the neurons and the transons and the dynamics of my emotion and trauma. I'll be like, you're scaring me. You're scaring me. You're scaring me right now. Just do the steps. Follow the black and the white. You're scaring me. That's too much. I was attracted to the higher power that I found and I saw in you. And here's why. You see, I've had a lot of higher powers. You see, I find it interesting when people tell me, oh, I got an issue with God, I got a problem with the God thing, or I don't like God. I'm like, oh no, you're talking about religion. Because you can't be an alcoholic. You've been seeking God through the bottle. What are you talking about? I've always had a higher power. It was alcohol. That's why you use words around here like I need a new one. I need a new power, a new employer, a new director. Why they use the word new? What's the old one? Alcohol. It's not working. I need another one. Where do I find it? I'm going to go inside. Like Marcy said, we're going to clean house. Uncover, discover, discard. Stay in unity, recovery, and service. I've been on a journey for 33 years. And the power that you find needs my permission. I found that fascinating. Ain't nobody tripped off of that? This infinite power needs me to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to it. I wanted to know that power. Things have always taken things away from me without my permission. And the power you guys found needed my permission. And you gave me the power of choice back. I never had that before. And I made a decision, and I wanted to see what was blocking me from the sunlight of the Spirit. Get rid of it. There's a paragraph in there that says, we squander the hours. People had the ability to kill. All these people that had done so much to me and violated me took up space in my mind, and they no longer going to have permission to do that to me again? Are you serious right now? Let's do this. Let's do it. What is there to debate about? And then I said, God, take all of me. What will you have me be? What will you have me do? I've been the caregiver to most of my perpetrators and my abusers. And I've learned this thing about compassion and forgiveness, unconditional love and patience, healing these relationships. My 33 years have not been cute nor fun. I am not going to come here and tell you I got sober and everything was fantastic. No. I used to go to meetings saying, if you tell me this too shall pass one more time, I'll punch you in the face. I used to hear things like, life's in session. All the things that I wasn't present for the first 24 years, I became present here. You told me feelings weren't fact, but I had them. When I did my 5th step with my sponsor, it was like the movie Good Will Hunting. Straight up, see that movie? It was just like that. My sponsor was like, it's not your fault. I was like, why are you saying that? Just like the movie. Why are you talking to me like that? It's not your fault. Yo, my sponsor was like, we need a moment of silence. My sponsor was like, that's intense. That was wrong. We need a minute. And I'm grateful for that. My sponsor said, I know it says anger is a dubious luxury for most people, but you need to be upset for a second. And she gave me an exercise to be angry for a week. I was like, I am very, very angry. It was very strange, but I did it. So I've cleaned house and I've been taking care. I took care of my uncle, my brother. My father with Parkinson's, my uncle with cancer, my brother with cancer, my mother with Alzheimer's after a stroke. Took me 9 years to make amends to mommy. Whenever I went to my mother's home group, I know they say we get sober together, it's all cute, it is, but I didn't go to meetings with mommy. Because whenever she shared, I'd be like, that didn't happen. Talking about. And so most of the time when I went to my mother's home group, if it wasn't her anniversary, they'd be like, what'd you do now, Sonia? I'd be like, this her home group, where's her sponsor? You think I'm playing? I'm serious. 12 steps ain't helping her today. Took me 9 years to make amends to my mother. Changed my life. I've been my mother's caregiver for years, man, and mommy stretched my spiritual muscles. Thank God for Alcoholics Anonymous. Mommy was my greatest teacher. Most of the time, mommy would be like, oh, you ain't that spiritual. Watch this, Miss Speaker. Watch this. I'd be like, you're right, you got me. I'm not that spiritual. Gibbs laughing because she lived in my house. Mommy lived with us. And what I learned is that if I paid attention to mommy and I applied the 12 steps and I cleaned house, a shift would happen. The psychic change would take place. And I have to tell you guys, this is really interesting that a couple of months before mommy died, a couple things came up for me. I kept saying, when mommy dies, who will I blame for my misery? She's been the reason why I haven't been able to do or to go or to have. And I noticed about a month before, I wasn't learning any more lessons. It became completely neutral. And there was nothing but love. I've been a caregiver since 2005. I don't know how not to give this program away. I returned back to my tradition and got initiated and became a priest in my tradition. I lived like Mother Theresa without being in a convent. I've literally given my life to God as a servant of God. I ask for nothing, but I pray for others. My phone rings like central office. Before COVID, I always had a coffee pot going on in my house. I always want the hand of AA to be there, and for that I am responsible. I owe my life to Alcoholics Anonymous. I was raised in Alcoholics Anonymous. I am a family member. My last name is Anonymous. I've been to Uncle Bob's house many times. Delilah took me the first time. I was crying with that coffee pot. I'm like, I'm hooked. Crying. He said, with a coffee pot? Are you serious right now? Do not put that on Facebook. Just like I didn't know how to live without alcohol, I don't know how to live without Alcoholics Anonymous. I just don't. As I said, a lot has happened for me in 33 years. I have sponsees who stay sober just to see me stay sober. I'm dead serious. They come to my house with an apple and a sandwich. They be like, we want to see how she do this one. Hold up. They be like, yo, that's deep. Whenever anybody calls me and says, I'm going to take a drink, I be like, if anybody's going to have a drink around here, it's me. If I'm not drinking, you're not drinking. And that's it. I tell you all, we talk about miracles around here. The miracle around here is that under all circumstances and situations, not a thought has occurred to me to drink. I watched my uncle take his last breath, not a thought occurred to me to drink. I put my brother on life support and had to take him off, and I had my nephews that were 10 and 14. And I watched that machine go straight. That's my only brother, my older brother. Oh man, I enjoyed being his sister. and we healed our relationship. You just need to give me a minute. I was present for that experience. And I remember I watched that thing go flat, and not a thought occurred to me to drink. And I remember I went to the kitchen in ICU. My oldest nephew followed me, and I turned to him and I said, I don't know how to do this. I don't know if I'm supposed to say something to you, if I'm supposed to scream. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do here, but I know how to make coffee. And I made a pot of coffee for people coming. And he said, that makes sense, Titi. That's the first time it's your only brother. I watched my dad take his last breath. My father loved me unconditionally. I am daddy's little girl, y'all. I don't have words to describe to you what that was like as my father looked in my eyes as he took his last breaths. And every part of me believes that God knows that Daddy knew for sure that finally the hands of AA and God was wrapped around me and his baby was safe. I believe that with all my heart. I really, really do. I remember I gave Daddy the big book. My father's a spiritual, I call him Confucius. And I gave Daddy the big book. And he took all day to read it. And when he was done, he took me in his library. And his library is like a seminary library. And he said, you see all the books in this library? Everything in here is in this book. And with this, why do you need anything else? I always remember Daddy told me that. And recently when Mommy died, that was the hardest thing I had to do, was to decide to take her off that machine. And the way my cousin says, it was like I was telling her a bedtime story while she was taking her last breath and holding the hand of my nephew. Very difficult for me. I didn't think I was going to respond that way. But because of Alcoholics Anonymous, I grew to love this woman that I hated. My stomach would turn when she would walk in the room. I found compassion for her and joy in my life and spending time with her, and I would dress her up like me, just in case if she got lost. You know what I'm saying? She looked like me, she dressed like me. And not a thought occurred to me to drink. So I like to end with a couple of things. You know, I've had a lot of question marks in my life. I even had a question mark whether I should come here. I have question marks where I'm going to live, what's going to happen, how I'm going to pay bills, who loves me, who doesn't love me, if I'm going to get the car fixed, I'm going to get lights in the car, put gas in the car, where's my next assignment. But the one area I don't ever want to have a question mark is that I'm an alcoholic. That is my anchor. I have an exclamation point, underline, highlight, highlight. And I don't have to figure out the rest of my life. All I got to do is just treat my alcoholism. And then the answer comes when my house is in order. And all of a sudden the answers come. And everything gets taken care of. And that's how I live my life today. I don't figure out nothing. I remember one time I was with this woman, I don't know, look, I work with everybody. People I sponsor, don't sponsor, I don't know what's going on. Everybody's always calling me. And this woman was in my house, and I gave her an example. I said, let me tell you something. At 5 o'clock, either my phone is going to stay on or it's going to turn off. I don't know. That's none of my business. All I know is that you're here right now and I need to talk to you. And if the phone turns off, I don't need to talk to nobody. And if it stays on, then that must mean I have to talk to people. And at 10 minutes to 5, my stepmother called and said, blah, 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 whatever. And she said, I'll call you back. And she called me back. She said, your phone is paid because I got to talk to you when I call you. I said, well, I guess I'll be talking to people. I have some people that I sponsor, and I tell them my spiritual life is my path and my life. I have some sponsees who say, I don't want to be that spiritual. I like my paycheck. But I call God a show-off. He takes a girl like me, unloved, unwanted, unnecessary, and insignificant, picks me up, dusts me off, builds me up so you can see what he can do. That's a show-off. I can't even take any credit for it. All I needed to apply was a mustard seed of willingness. This is still awkward right now, you guys. There's a lot of pressure. They get 10,000 people. Why they told me that number? It didn't help. Juanita's like, you're going to blow their mind. I'm like, really? Thank you. Like, what if I'm not feeling it? Anyway, I had to say that. That's a lot of pressure because, you know, everybody shows up, you're in the stadiums, and everybody's like, what? What do you got to say? What do you got to say? Anyway, if you're new, this is the miracle that happens around here, and it talks about it in the big book. Sanity returns, but you got to get to step 10. We will turn to this place of neutrality where the drinking problem is removed without any effort on our part, without swearing off forever. We will now enter the world of spirit. This is the miracle of it. And this is true for all of us if you're new. But there's a disclaimer. It is only true if we're in fit spiritual condition. And I got 24 hours to do that. I know that you guys have done a 12-step call on me this weekend. You have filled up my heart, my spirit. I love Alcoholics Anonymous so much. Everything about it. ¿Qué pasa? Real quick, I have to say this. You know, we talk a lot about us getting sober and staying sober and the lives that change around us. You know, I remember Ralph is my grand sponsor, but he always talks about every time he sees me here, he sees my nephew standing behind me. And I want to thank Alcoholics Anonymous for helping to change a new generation. These boys are now 20 and 24, and they love their titi, man. I'm a cool titi. I have to tell you that. I'm a cool titi. I get to share the program of Alcoholics Anonymous with them by being an attraction and sharing the tools that you've given me. And they have a new opportunity and a new life, and they dream, and they say things like, I love you, and I'm uncomfortable, and thank you, and they aspire for things in life. I owe that to Alcoholics Anonymous. That is the ripple effect that happens around here. They're the new generation. They don't have to come close to the life that my brother and I lived, and I thank you for that. So as I said, this God is a show-off. And if he does this for me, can you imagine what he can do for you? I hope somehow, some way, those of you who knew, give some hope. I know I have. I needed you guys more than ever. I've been really broken. I'm sorry. Since Mommy died, I haven't been okay. I'm sorry. I literally, like, it's trippy. Anyway, I got, like, broken heart syndrome. I thought that was a metaphor. I think that's Mommy going, get her, bring her here with me. Anyway. I know my time is up. I want to thank all of you who have called me, spent time with me, share with me, hang out with me. I need you more than ever. Without me, I don't know. I don't know what I would do without any of you guys. Thank you for letting me come back. I hope it wasn't, I don't know. I feel like I'm having imposter syndrome at the moment. I don't know what's going on. No, I really thank you so much for allowing me to come back and tell the story. I tell you, there's whatever. There's pressure. Like, oh, she came back. Anyway, I'm tripping. Okay. I'm having a hard time. Okay. I'm so uncomfortable right now.
just want to sit back there and just listen. Okay, so if nobody told you they love you today, I really, really do. I want to thank the God inside of you for helping me discover the God in me. Oh, this God is so big and so bright and so powerful. So that I can do the same for others. Thank you all so much. Thank you.